Okay, Syriac lesson 4. We're going to look at the perfect tense. So we already looked at the present tense before, including the passive. We're going to look at the perfect. Now, what is the perfect tense? The scholastic perfect gives the meaning of any completed action. So something that's completed or perfected is the perfect. And what does that mean? It's usually can be translated as a past tense. So if you just think about this as a past tense, you're not going to be that far off. You're going to be pretty close. So this is basically a past tense or completed tense. You know, it's not that precise to worry about. Its form is most noticeable in its endings. This is very, very new and very, very different from spoken Chaldean or Assyrian. This was pretty similar. Qtil, awid, it's, very similar to the Chaldean present tense. This is very different. It's apparently not that far from Arabic in some ways, but I don't know Arabic, so that didn't really help me much when I was learning this. For the rest of us, you're just going to have to kind of hard memorize this. So it is the endings that make it, that sort of tell you how the tense works. I will say this, do not worry about root letters being softened or not softened. It's not important, especially for a passive knowledge that you have. People get very frustrated and waste a lot of time memorizing rules about when letters are softened or not. Really, you shouldn't worry about it. Just learn the language. And if you mispronounce something, if you make a daleth hard or soft, it does not help or hurt your understanding of the language at all. So I'm going to tell you just the way I would pronounce these. And in my presentation of this, I'm just going to keep the roots awad to be the same throughout the conjugation. Other grammars will harden or soften them depending on the vowels. I'm just not going to worry about that. So anyway, long story short, if you want to say I made or I did, awdith, awdith. You made, masculine, awadht. You feminine, awadhti. Yet again, this is not actually pronounced. This yod is not pronounced. So it's awadht, awadht, with a silent yod at the end. He made, awadh. She made, awdath. We made, awadhan, or awadhnan. That's why this is in parentheses here. There's two options. Awadhan or awadhnan. You plural made, awadhton. Feminine, awadhtan. They made is either awadh with a silent waw or awadhun. Rarely, but once in a while you'll see awadhun. And awadh with a silent yod at the end. So these actually, a lot of them just sound like awadh and with just sort of silent letters near them. Let me read through the conjugation completely. Awdith, awadht, awadht, awadh, awdath, awadhan, awadhton, awadhtan, awadh, awadh. I will note a couple of things. Awdith, I made, is pretty similar to awdath, she made, except for this vowel. This is on she made, it's apthaha. On this, it's islamaqashya. So awdith means I made. Awdath means she made. This is not the most intuitive conjugation. The ton at the end, it seems right for a you plural. The taus at the end of here, awadht and awadhti, that's fine. The rest of it, man, I guess awadhan sounds kind of right, but you're just gonna have to kind of hard memorize this. Just sit and do it like we all had to do it. Repeat over and over and over again. Put some different verbs in there. Let me give you another one again vocally. And I'll use qtal because it's such a regular verb. Qatleth, qtalt, qtalti, or just qtalt. Qtal, qatlath, qtaln, or qtalnan. Qtalton, qtaltain, qtal, or qtalun, and qtal. This is probably the hardest conjugation to memorize. Once you have it memorized, so much is built on this you'll thank yourself for doing the work to memorize it now. Here I have the past tense or perfect tense of to be. It's the same endings, it just has that root hua in it. And I'm giving it to you because there's some weak letters in it, so I want to kind of show you the whole conjugation. I was hueth. So you see, awdeth becomes hueth. The vowel just kind of moves back here. Huait, huaiti, or just huait. Hua, he was. She was is huath. So the oath just kind of goes away. We were is huain. You plural were huaiton. You feminine plural huaitin. They were is huau. And then feminine they is huay. Huay. So hueth, huait, huait. Hua, huath. Huain, huaiton, huaitin. Huau, huay. Worth memorizing. You see this pretty often. Again, finally, this lesson, all I'm going to do, and just kind of let you soak this in and memorize it and put in new verbs in practice. The passive forms for the perfect. This is not as confusing and intimidating as it looks. These look like really long words. It's not a big deal. It really is just the same endings that you learned up here, the th at the end and so on. And what you do to make it passive, instead of I killed, to make it I was killed, so it happened to you, the passive, you add this particle ith at the beginning. And that's basically it. The rest of it is more or less the same. So let's take a look. Ith qatleth. Now, if you're paying attention, I killed is qatleth, so the vowel does change. But if don't worry so much about that. This is the same. Ith qatleth. I was killed. Ith qtalt. You were killed. Ith qtalt with a silent yod. You feminine were killed. Ith qtil. He was killed. Ith qatlath. So again, the same ending. Qatlath, qatlath, ith qatlath. She was killed. Ith qtiln. We were killed. Ith qtilton. You plural were killed. Ith qtiltain, feminine. Ith qtil with the silent waw. Ith qtil. Here you don't even have a yod or anything. It's just this. They were killed, feminine. Let me read it again. Ith qatleth. Ith qtilt. Ith qtilt. Ith qtil. Ith qatlath. Ith qtiln. Ith qtilton. Ith qtiltain. Ith qtil. Ith qtil. Really, the only new thing is this ith thing. If you just remember, ith at the beginning means the passive, and then just recognize these endings, you should do just fine. Next class is the imperfect, which is the last basic tense, and then we're going to build on things from there. See you then.